Nat Thine ahead of the Victorian election in 3 weeks' time.
Now, communicating complicated ideas in a way that anyone can understand, rather, is a challenge faced by museums across the world. This weekend in Sydney, 2,500 arts organisations from 40 countries worldwide will come together to share how they do it.
Corinne Estrada is a founder of the event called Communicating the Museum, and Gordon Montgomery is Vice President of Marketing and Public Affairs for the Art Institute of Chicago, and he'll be sharing his experiences of an American project called Art Everywhere. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Corinne, the form of art, do you feel as though today perhaps the community is less engaged with art, and this is the reason why projects such as your own need to be there in the first place?
Well, it's interesting to see how the people are more and more going to museums. The attendance of visitors is increasing, and people, they are more and more sophisticated, and they're really looking for a platform to engage, and museums to do really have a big job to inspire people to be creative and to engage for bigger ideas.
So what prompted you to come up with this idea of communicating the museum, particularly given you come from France, and Paris, of course, the museum there? Everyone is well aware of the Louvre and so on, and I wouldn't have thought you had any problems in communicating the idea of going to that museum.
Well, the first idea really started in 2000 when Tate wanted to share the best practices with the other museums, and we told them, well, come to Paris, because it would be wonderful to learn from the British. You know, our French love to learn from British, and the other side as well. So we started this idea, with a small group of 7 people, and every year in Europe it grows, and then we decided to go to the States, and this year for the first time it was the Southern Hemisphere.
So, Gordon, can you tell us about your project and the work that you do in Chicago?
Sure. The Art Everywhere project was something that just came about the first half of this year. It was actually based on a UK model started by entrepreneur Richard Reed. And in short, what it is it was a program where we worked with the Out-of-Home Association of America, who provides all the out-of-home advertising, billboards, transit, and so on. And then we had 5 American museums partnered to share American art, and the idea was to bring the art that's in the museums out into the the broader space, the everyday, and share with people, with the great tradition of American art. And it was a fantastic project in the sense that, again, 5 museums came together to bring these about. We selected 100 works, 20 from each museum. There was a national social media contest where the American people got to vote on the art that they most liked and cut the list down to over 50. And then in August of this year, at 60,000 postings around the country, starting with a big kickoff in Times Square. America's greatest art literally appeared everywhere.
That's the images of what we're seeing right now in Times Square in New York. And how would you describe these works of art that were not just in New York, of course, but elsewhere around the States?
Yeah, well, it was truly spanning the American tradition, so from colonial days up through contemporary, and that was one of the exciting and fun parts about it. It was literally how we share this entirety of this experience, and it was a project that involved not only the museums, but the artists, of course, gave their permission to loan these works. The public participated in terms of their voting on these works, and they appeared, everywhere from New York to small towns in Iowa. It was also really fun to juxtapose some of the different types of art. So you might see something like American Gothic with its farmers in Iowa, but also in Port Authority at the subway station in New York City. And so it was just a great celebration on that level.
And Corinne, it's interesting you were saying there's a great demand. People are going to the museum maybe now in greater numbers. But is there also a need to change for the 21st century? Gordon mentioned social media to update the way in which people access art.
Well, if you look at the offer right now, you have more and more a lot to engage with people. There is a lot of competition, department stores. So we really have to act as a new platform, and we're not the old buildings, from the 18th century. So we have to move forward to engage new audiences and to be, to have a new dialogue with our visitors. So yes, we have to engage with the digital tools, absolutely.
And actually putting it on a pavement as such That must be nothing more engaging than that, where people actually, rather than going to the art comes to them.
Absolutely, and it was for the museums. It was such a wonderful chance to not just get people into the museums, which is what we spend all of our time, really trying to do, but bringing art out so many more people could be inspired, even if for a moment while they're waiting for their bus in the morning, to stare at a picture and be lifted and think about something differently, and hopefully then to come in. There was also a wonderful social media app where you could hold your phone up, recognize the image, it was called Blipper, and then it would immediately tell you about the history of the artist, about the painting or the photograph and its full background just by lifting your phone up.
Now, unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut you off there because we're nearly off air, but Gordon Montgomery and Corinne Estrada, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for inviting.